Hey Eminem. Yes, Eminem? If you have a psychoanalytical partner and they call you mommy, what does that mean? That they love Halloween, of course. No more dad jokes, please. Fight me, mommy. Hello, my beautiful basilisks and mythology in mind. You can call me Eminem, and today we're going to talk about the daddy of psychoanalysis. I know, incredible choice of words, misconceptions about him, and other stuff. Just watch and then we can have a heated discussion which may or may not be followed by passionate at all time. First, let's talk about the cocaine, okay? Yes, he did consume it. Yes, he did prescribe it. Lots of people use this to discredit him immediately, but let's add some context to this mess. Cocaine was first synthesized as such in 1858 or 59 by some dude named Albert Niemann, and in 1868, Tomás Moreno y Maíz, which literally means Thomas Tanned and Corn, wrote a thesis about all of the benefits of coke, like being more active, how it stimulates mind and body, or that night state it puts you into. Allegedly. In 1879, it starts being used as a treatment for morphine addiction by doctors, and in 1884 as an anesthetic and also to stimulate the troops in the military. Freud starts using it around this time too. He prescribes it to himself, some members of his family, his future wife, and a friend to cure his morphine addiction. He published an article about the benefits of cocaine. Around a year later, he finds out that his friend is now addicted to coke, so he stops prescribing it. Also, he faces criticism from other doctors and he hears news about overdoses. So he writes another article talking about the side effects of coke and publicly backtracks from what he said before. However, he still used coke on himself from time to time for nasal inflammation, migraines, and depression for about 10 more years. So yeah, he consumed cocaine, but also did doctors from his time, and nobody says that because of that, doctors were stupid or other things they said were invalid. I mean, they also used heroin even on children from 1898 to 1913, and they are not seen as the worst. So let's put coke aside, thank you. Don't do drugs. People also tend to think that he was like an obsessed sex maniac that believed that literally everything was about sex. No, sorry. He talks about two types of pulsation or instincts, if you may. One is eros and the other is thanatos. And yes, eros is sex, but eros for Freud is also eating, drawing, listening to music, looking at a landscape, thinking, literally anything that isn't thanatos, which would be violence, anger, destroying things, and so on and so on. So no, it's not just sex. However, he did think sex was important, and let's talk about this with perspective too. He openly talked about sex in the Victorian era. The Victorian era, nobody talked about sex ever, and even though in this time brothels and adult locals are everywhere, they were secretive and seen very badly by society. So for this man to start discussing sex and considering it an important part of the human psyche is literally revolutionary, and honestly, it probably took a lot of courage, as half of the country is going to point at you as a deviant. And yes, he did not contemplate asexuality in his theories, but no one did until the 2000s. Not because asexuality didn't exist, of course, it just was considered being frigid. So let's not ask that much from this man who was born literally 160 years ago. And now about women and Freud. Yes, he had some fucking crazy theories surrounding women, but he was literally the first psychologist to sit his ass down and talk to a patient. Before Freud, all the psychology we had was Wundt. And bless him, but he was an experimental psychologist, not a practical one. With this I mean that he was interested in experiments about perception and sensation, not about the mind of specific individuals. Breuer and Freud were pioneers in that area. However, I digress. I was talking about women. Yes, women. They were commonly diagnosed with hysteria by doctors. This includes symptoms as far as baby blues, insomnia, fainting, a headache, or telling your husband something he doesn't agree with. Basically anything. Usually these were treated by someone trying to make you orgasm, and let's be real, probably without any luck, or keeping you in a room far away from the rest of the world. Freud was one of the first ones that believed that hysteria was just women's trauma manifestating. So he sat down, he shut up, and he listened to his patients' actual feelings and issues. And he was also in favor of women's emancipation. He obviously had misconceptions about women, like a lot, but he also thought that they should work, and he raised his daughters with this mentality. So he wasn't the worst for his era. I mean, he wasn't a feminist, but you know. He also thought that homosexuality shouldn't be penalized, just so you know. And yes, he did believe in penis envy, which, let's admit it, is so dumb to us. But not for his context, I don't think so. Have in mind, as a human with female genitalia, you were allowed to do nothing except childbirthing and raising your children. You were the object of men, first your father, then your husband. I mean, I also would have penis envy in that situation. So he thought women should work and pursue higher education. He didn't think homosexuality was a crime. He talked about sex in a world where that was seen as crazy behavior. He actually talked to his patients, and he started gaining a lot of clients because of this, and this obviously pissed off people in his profession. Starting to see why does he have such a bad rap. Oh, and there's another tiny detail. He was Jewish. I don't want any fucking comments trying to say that doesn't mean anything, because of course it does. His family lived in a Jewish ghetto. He was expelled from the National Society of German Students after 10 years in it for being Jewish, because they were not longer accepted, and he lived in Vienna until he had to flee from Hitler. So yeah, it mattered. Also, lots of people don't respect Freud because psychoanalysis is anti-scientific. And it totally is, but so is psychology, even though we don't want to admit it. But that's a conversation for another day. I don't believe psychoanalysis is the best branch of psychology, not at all, but I do think it did important things that we don't credit to it, like realizing sex is an important topic for many individuals, creating sexology, basically, or that you have to let your patients speak and hear them in order to do anything. It also has pretty wild theories and methods I find interesting, even though I do not agree with them. I think that's all. Well, write in the comments whatever you want, if you agree, if you disagree, or what do you want to say next. And no, honey, I don't think your opinion is trash. I just think mine is right and yours is wrong, which is true. Have a nice Iron Age. Bye.